My name is Amanda Sissenstein.
How long have you been working with Food Not Bombs?
I have been involved with Food Not Bombs for 9 years this month. What began as an idea that kind of came out of Food Not Bombs, because we were just kind of like sitting around being like, wouldn't it be nice if we could do this like every day or at least multiple times a week. And my friend was like, we need a building. And I was like, oh, we need a building. And that kind of idea kind of like grew. For a while, it was kind of like me and like one other person or two with like one pot of food and like a bag full of plates. And so now it's a much bigger operation. For the past 3 or 4 years at least, we've been feeding, in non-pandemic times, we'd feed anywhere from like 30, sometimes up to 70 people each week, varying from week to week. And so, we needed to cook more and more food. We had to get more and more supplies, source more and more food for the increased demand. One thing we do like to pride ourselves on is that we are a bit different from, a typical like soup kitchen where there's like the people serving the food and there's people receiving the food. And so we've always kind of been more of just this like group of people hanging out and eating together, not mattering who needs food, who doesn't need the food, not knowing who needs the food. And it's, everybody just serves themselves. And so it was just very much kind of like potluck family style, hanging out, food time, more like a picnic than like a serving.
I started right before Christmas, actually, so I'm brand spanking new to this.
What brought you to Food Not Bombs?
Well, I saw it on the New Paltz Socialists Instagram page, and they were calling for volunteers, and I was like, oh, I'm available that day, and like, I have these values, and I never do anything about them, and I'm like, well, what better way to do something about it rather than just like sitting in my house.
What has the organization done for you during the pandemic?
Personally, it's definitely been like a beacon of hope for me. Just everybody knows there's a lot of, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of shit in the world. The world is an evil, ugly place, and this is just something that like really brought me out of that dark and showed me that there are people who give a shit about other people and are willing to do something about it. And I love being involved in that. I guess one positive of the pandemic has been me becoming a literal commie. Just seeing the complete mishandling of people's health. And I mean, I was on the left before, but now I'm really left. And I think it's just really valuable to be around people who can like empower that and can show you the way, because like I have a lot to learn, but there's a lot of people here who know more than me who can help me.
So I am Scoob. I'm a student at SUNY New Paltz. I work at Tops, the grocery store, and the library on campus. And I organize with Food Not Bombs, as well as New Paltz Socialists, and as of late, also the Newburgh LGBT Center. So Food Not Bombs originated out of the anti-war movement, I believe, in the late 1900s. So it came out of the anti-war movement because it was basically being like, why is the US government have such a high amount of money for the US military, for colonizing other lands, for bombing people, for killing hundreds of thousands of people? And why does the US government place so much money in the military and not on actually feeding its people? So the name like Food Not Bombs is like, we need to focus on feeding people and making food for each other and meeting each other's needs and not bombing other people and engaging in like imperialism and colonization.
Well, my official role in the organization is social media coordinator and I guess like political advisor. That's kind of what I do. So basically I help promote the organization, and I try to like organize ways to to get our outreach, I guess, in terms of social media and stuff like that. Also organize like artistic endeavors, like I don't know, like art nights and stuff like that to promote revolutionary culture. Like we did one yesterday, and it was really cool. We made some of the bandanas with our logo pressed on them. We designed some quotes so that we can like post up on social media or even in person, like physically, right? Just like really inspirational stuff. And we had some new people come in and just talk and say like what they're about and ask us what we're about. So yeah, just connecting with people. And then the political like advisor aspect is just that.
Must we do?
And white supremacy!
What must we do?
And white supremacy!
What must we do?
And white supremacy!
Yeah, I like to study history, I like to study politics, but that's also a whole committee, so it's not just me. But basically our organization is made up of campaigns, which is basically like doing stuff, talking to people, providing services. We're also working on Narcan trainings and things like that. That's like one branch. Then another branch is the political stuff. So we have a group of people that are dedicated to studying politics and making them accessible to people in ways that are digestible, like through music, art, like all that stuff.
We've been trying to politically educate ourselves more together as like a collective, such as like every Wednesday, like kind of like engaging in some form of like political education with each other about real world like events going on that might not necessarily like be happening in New Paltz. But also we work with like New Paltz Socialists and like other organizations as well. And also just like, as I said, like organizing with other groups. And there was like the recent protest. And also I think feeding people and organizing to feed people, that's inherently political, because the US society, like this colonizer settler society, has structures set up so we aren't feeding each other and we aren't helping feed each other all the time, you know? So we're actively resisting that through just creating meals to feed to people. So Funapams just means to me, I'm just like constantly like growing and politicizing my beliefs and just helping meet people's needs. So for me, I guess I am more about decolonization and anti-colonial struggle, and centering the voices and leadership of people of color and colonized people. Because for me, you just need to assess the material conditions in the area and what people need and what people think they need.
The focus of our organization, New Paltz Socialists, is really like everything is encapsulated under like anti-colonial politics. Like, so when we try to approach anything that we do that's like to people that might not be familiar with, I don't know, political ideology or anything like that, that's like our first thing, because I think it's the most tangible, easy thing to talk about when we talk about just the land. Like, this is Munsey Lenape land, and this is where we are. And this place was colonized by the French Huguenots and then other waves of settlers, and that's just really physical, tangible things that we can kind of see. I think it's the easiest way to get to people as well, but it's also like the core of a lot of the injustice and oppression that happens in the world today.
So I don't really like affiliate with any kind of like political ideology per se about like organizing structure, because also I'm white and I don't want to be like, oh, I think this is the right thing to do, because I have a lot of unjust privilege because I'm white, I'm like going to college, and I don't have the same like marginalized real lived experiences that a lot of colonized people of color and more marginalized people than myself have, you know? And I don't want to be making decisions for them. I want to be making decisions with them.
When we're talking about like anti-colonialism, a lot of it has to do with like just like the powers and people that were in charge of enforcing that colonialism and carrying that out for their own economic benefit. And that's still the government power structure that's in charge today. Like, it's a settler colonial government run by people that are invaders and settlers. So that's really how that perspective is really seen from our organization. And the way that we kind of link it to the work that we do here is that in order to get people to be able to kind of disunite with that structure, they need to be able to see that they can provide for themselves. And that's where this comes in, right? Building up programs that are democratic and people-centered, and again, disconnected from that structure that is oppressive. So that's really where like we try to build people up. We build programs and we build people to take on leadership and be like, wow, look at this, like we can do stuff for our own. In order to really be free, you need a couple things. You need land, you need control over yourself, your work, your labor, whatever it is that you want to produce or spend your time doing, you need control over that. And you need control over your resources. So once you have those things, the opportunity to create for yourself and for your community is open, and people can't take that away from you. Only at that point, it's only if you want it or not. But people don't have that option in this in this time, in this era of capitalism, colonialism, because people don't have access to those things. We don't have access to getting our resources from the land. We don't have control over land and what we do with the land, or even open spaces. And we definitely don't have control over what we choose to do with our lives in terms of just like work and time, because it's always serving the interests of somebody else, somebody that's not really has the interests of your community in mind. So that's why understanding that ability to be self-reliant is really important. And for a lot of people it's scary. But it's stuff that we already do. We already do this stuff. We just do it for the benefit of somebody else. So yeah, we just want to keep doing the things of life, but make them connected to nature and to other people.